Hello everybody, once again. Now, this is the kernel wherein I have used my model to train. Introduction, we'll learn and practice and compare classification models in this project. So you'll see in this kernel test train data split, decision tree classification, logistic regression classification, random tree classification, SVM classification, and we'll see the comparison between the classification models. The problem statement is deceptive opinion spam detection, for which in the beginning itself I have imported pandas as pd and matplotlib.pyplot as plt. Then I have conquered upon importing the dataset that has been named as deceptive opinion underscore 01 csv. I have seen that the head files only show the truthful data for hotels so mentioned. I have used the value count to see how much of truthful data and how much of deceptive data has already been present in, has is already present in the dataset. I have used the pie chart to depict that. Then I've used the unique function to see what are the unique entries in hotel source and polarity, which are shown as follows. I've used the info function df.info, which shows me that the data type is object. I also tried to find out whether or not there were any null values or any values missing or any values repeated whatsoever. I used the isNull function with sum, and it showed that the dataset is already clean. And so I moved forward to label encoding. I imported the library sklearn.preprocessing, and I passed the values to LE score, LE source, LE hotel, LE polarity, and LE deceptive. I have then moved on to the input data wherein I am using deceptive and text to be removed. I want them to be removed as deceptive has to be taken in the output. That is the main objective. So X head contains only hotel, polarity, and source. Then I have used the model fitting wherein X hotel is equal to LE fit transform only hotel. X head is again shown wherein I have used the label encoding to transform from words to numbers for the hotel column, and similarly I have so done for polarity and source. In the end, when I see X head wherein I have already used the label encoding, I see X head as hotel, polarity, and source wherein the entries are in numbers only, and similarly for stale. Now I want to see hotel equivalent, for which I use pd.dataframe. The values are stored. Then I see what does hotel consists of. I have stored it in df1. Df head shows the following data set. I have added a column hotel x to depict the equivalent of the numbers. Similarly for polarity, positive stands for 1 and negative stands for 0, as shown in head and tail. For source equivalent also I have used the label encoding, which is as shown as 2, 1 and 3 respectively. Now coming on to output or target, which has to be deceptive because that is what we are aiming at. Looking at the output head, we see truthful for the first few values. I have used label encoding in that too, wherein 1 denotes truthful and 0 denotes deceptive, and they are showcased in head and tail functions respectively. Now the main idea is to start splitting the into training and testing sets, for which I have used the library sklearn.model selection, from which I import train test split. I have used algo score and algo names, for which I will furthermore in my implementation I'll tell you for what are they. I have looked at the length of xtrain and ytrain, the length of xtest and ytest. I have looked at the shape of xtest and ytest. I have showcased xtest head values and the tail values. I then move on to model training. Now for model training, I have used decision tree, logistic regression, random forest, and SVM. For the decision tree, we import sklearn. From sklearn, we import tree, and model training के अंदर भी use tree dot decision tree classification classifier. We fit it, and then the use of algo names and algo scores comes. It is basically used in the later on stage for uh, pi representations. Logistic regressions, we use sklearn.linear model library from which we import logistic regression. We fit it into model 2. For decision tree, we fit it into model 1, logistic regression into model 2. For random forest in model 3, for which we use the library sklearn.assemble, from which we import random forest classifier. And in SVM, we use model 4, for which we need to import sklearn.svm, from which we import svs. Now we need to check the accuracy of the model that so we have made. So we'll check for each model. For model 1, as seen, we import a library sklearn. We from a library sklearn we import metrics using which the model for model 1 score of decision tree model is 0.89. For model 2, that is logistic regression, it is 0.79. For model 3, which is the score of random forest model, it is 0.89 again. Now the similarity is that the decision tree model and the random forest model show similar accuracies. And similarly for model 2, that is logistic regression and SVM, they show similar accuracy. Now I need to predict these models and their values. So I use the metric system to check their accuracy and score. For the accuracy of y-test and PE1. Now PE1 stands for model 1 and the predict of from X test. It is 0.89. For model 2, that is uh, logistic regression, it is 0.80. For random forest, it is 0.87, and for SVM, it is 0.80. Now, in order to compare them, I have plotted a bar graph. Now, as discussed before, decision tree and random forest show similar accuracy, which is being depicted, and logistic regression and SVM show similar accuracy. Individual prediction depiction of models is as shown. For decision tree, it is 94.7 and 5.3% each for correct and wrong. For logistic regression, it is 88.9 and 11.1% each for correct and wrong. I have used the plt.py, which has been possible due to only matplotlib.pyplot library, which I imported in the beginning itself. For random forest, I use for the random forest actually 92.8% and 7.2% each for correct and wrong, and similarly for SVM. The conclusion from all the work that has been put into it comes upon that based on the precision prediction of pie chart accuracy score, we can say that the random forest classifier and decision tree classification is the best suited for this problem where we are predicting whether the text to various hotels through various sources are depicted as deceptive or truthful. That's all. Thank you, everyone.